Hello, this is Sal. Today's video we will be talking about OSPF. As you can see on the screen, we have four networks. They are configured the same. Uh, like this network here, the interfaces are configured the same IP addresses, the loopbacks, but I'll be configuring OSPF in each network here in a different way. I will be using the process ID 1 for the OSPF in all of the topologies. As for the first topology, I will configure OSPF using the network command with exact IP match, the IP address in all interfaces. And in the second topology, I will enable the OSPF based on the subnet mask. And on the third topology, based on the interfaces of the routers. And finally, I will configure OSPF on the routers and on all interfaces with one network command. So let's start with the first one here. Enable configure terminal router OSPF process ID 1. I will start with the loopback and in area 0 the network of 172.16.1.1 with the and also area 0. Now router 2, enable configure terminal router OSPF router OSPF 1 network 2 and area 0, the interface facing router 1 of 172.16.1.2 and area 0, and now the network of the one facing router 3.2.1 area 0. Now router 3, configure terminal router OSPF process ID 1. Start with the loopback area 0, the interface facing router 2, and the interface facing router 4 of 3.1 area 0. Now let me work on router 4, router OSPF 1 for the loopback of 4.4.4.4 area 0, area 0. Let me run a few show commands here, like show IP OSPF neighbor. It's showing us here router 3 with a process with the with an router ID of 3.3.3.3. The way how the router ID, it will choose the highest physical IP address, and still if there is a loopback, it will use the loopback as its router ID. In this case, for router 3, it's using the loopback of 3.3.3.3, and for router 2, 2.2.2.2, and the same with router 1. But if there is no loopbacks, it will choose the highest physical IP address to use it as its router ID. Now let me see if I can ping the loopback of router 1. Yes, we can. If we can ping the 172.16.1.1, yes, we can here. Now let me run this command, show IP protocol. As you can see here, we are using the OSPF 1, and here is showing us that it is routing. We are using this command on router 4, that it's using the routing protocol for the network of the loopback and for this interface. And here for the gateway, the distance here 110 for the OSPF, and use it for this router 1. This is the router ID, and this is for router 2, router 3, and router 4. Let me run this show IP OSPF interface. Here showing us on router 4. This is for router 4, that for the loopback it's up, and here the router ID, as I said, it's the loopback as the router ID, and here is the for gigabit 000. This is the IP address for this interface, and also the router ID for router 4 is 4.4.4.4. Now on the topology number 2, here I will enable the OSPF on the routers based on the subnet mask. Like for this here, it is for the loopback it is 32, and for this interface is a 24. So let me start with router 1. Enable configure terminal router OSPF 1. The network first, let me with the loopback. The inverse subnet mask for the /32 is 0000, and also here it's in area 0. The network of the interface of 172.16.1.0. The inverse subnet mask of 000.255 in area 0. Now router 2, enable configure terminal router OSPF 1. Let me do first the loopback, and this is the inverse subnet mask, and in area 0. The interface facing router 1, 172.16.1.0 in area 0. The interface facing router 3, 172.16.2.0 .255 in area 0. Now let's move to router 3. Enable configure terminal router OSPF. Let me do first the loopback, area 0, 172.16.2.0 area 0. The interface facing router 4 at 16.3.0 area 0. Now router 4, router OSPF process ID 1, the loopback, and in area 0, and the network of the IP address facing router 3, area 0. Exit. Let me run this show IP route, and still router 4 waiting for it to form the adjacency to see the neighbors. Show IP OSPF neighbor OSPF. It's router number 3. Let me see if we can ping router 1, and yes we can. The interface of router 1 172.16.1.1, and now let me run this command again, show IP route, and here it is showing us that O stands for OSPF, and for this network the loopback, and for the other, and for router 3, and this is for router 4, and show IP protocol. It's showing us here we are running this command on router 4, that it's routing for the two networks, for the loopback and for this interface here. And as I said, these are the router's ID, because these are the loopbacks, and it's choosing the loopbacks as the router's ID. Now I will work on topology number 3. Here we will to configure the OSPF on the router's interfaces with based on the to enable the OSPF with interfaces command. Here with router 1, enable configure terminal router OSPF 1. Now interface for the loop back 0 IP OSPF, and it is 1 area 0. Now the interface of gig 000 IP OSPF process ID 1 in area 0. This is with router 1. Router 2, enable route configure terminal router OSPF 1. Now the interface for the loopback 0 IP OSPF process ID 1 in area 0. Now the interface facing router 1 gig 000 IP OSPF 1 in area 0. Now the interface facing router 3, which is gigabit of 001 IP OSPF process ID 1 in area 0. And ping 1111. Yes, we can. Now router 3, enable configure terminal router OSPF 1. Sorry about that. Router OSPF 1 interface loop back 0 IP OSPF 1 area 0. The interface facing router 2 gigabit 001 IP OSPF process ID 1 in area 0. The interface facing router 4 gigabit 000 IP OSPF process ID 1 in area 0. Now to router 4, enable configure terminal router OSPF process ID 1. Now the interface of the loop back 0 IP OSPF 1 in area 0. And now the interface facing router number 3 of gigabit Ethernet 000 IP OSPF 1 in area 0. Let's give it now. It's showing us, telling us here adjacency, a process ID 1 with the neighbor 33 on the gigabit Ethernet 000 from loading to full. Loading is done. Now we can ping the loopback of router 1, and we can ping the interface facing router 1 on router 2.16.1.2, and I can run this command show IP OSPF neighbor. It's showing us the neighbor or router 3 with this router ID here. Now let me also run this command show IP OSPF interfaces. This is on router 4, showing us that loopback 0 is up with this IP address, and the router ID is the loopback. And here for the interface of gigabit Ethernet 000, it's up with this IP address /24, and this is the router ID. Now on router 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, to configure the OSPF on the router's interfaces with a single network command. So let's start with router 1. Enable configure terminal router OSPF process ID 1, and how we will do it, network, this is on router 1 0.0.0.0, and with the subnet mask is 255.255.255.255 in area 0, which means that any interface on the router, any router will be connected to this router, it will be the OSPF will be running on this device. Now with router 2 we'll do the same. Enable configure terminal router OSPF 1 network 0.0.0, which means all the interfaces on the router, and area 0, and ping 1.1.1.1. Did I type it right? No. Just give it a second. Yes, I did. And here we go. Now router 3, enable configure terminal router OSPF process ID 1 network, any network with this subnet mask, and area 0. Do the same on the last router, router number 4. Configure terminal router OSPF process ID 1 network of any network 255.255 and in area 0. Let's give it a second here till it can see the neighbor of router 3. Let us see if we can ping router 1. It's still trying to form the adjacency with the neighbor. Let me see from router 3 if it can ping router 1 loopback, router 4, and here we go. It took it a while, but finally it is done. Ping, yes we can. Show IP OSPF interface. I'll do it in a different router this time because I kept doing it on router 4. Show IP OSPF interface. Here is showing us for the interface of 0.0.0, it's up with this IP address, and the ID, router ID is this, and the same with the other interface. This is on router 2, and this is the IP address for that interface, and this is the router ID, and the same it did with the loopback 0 on router 2. Now let me run this command on router 3, show IP protocol, and here this is router 3. It is routing for the networks, all the networks, and they are in any network, any interface will be connected to router 3 with area 0, and it's showing us the gateway for router 1 is the loopback of router 1, which is the ID for that router, and the same with router 2, the same with router 3, the same with router 4. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, a tip or two from this video. Please, if you like it, share the video and subscribe to my channel and give me the thumb up. If you have any questions, any comments, please just send me and I will gladly answer any request or any comments. And I will be seeing you soon in my next video. Wishing you a nice day. Bye.